All right. So let's see here. All right. So I'm trying this live YouTube streaming again. I was trying to set it up on Facebook too. I guess you can do that, but not that I have any. I don't even have a Facebook page. Doing some stuff with my son Jason on his page. But anyways, I want to talk just a little bit about I was talking yesterday about the fact that our government has done some things that really aren't proper. They've brought us into a different jurisdiction than what we all believe, what we're told that we operate under, and that's a problem. Now, they're doing it, they claim, under full constitutional authority through Article 4, federal territories, the ability of Congress to regulate and legislate exclusively for its territories. Huh? But the problem is that you and I think that we live in the United States of America, the state of Utah being an independent nation state. Now, you may not believe that. You might think that it's just part of the bigger group, the 50 states in the United States of America. It's one great big country. Hey, but it's not. And they know that. Now, the reason I know that this is what they've done is because they're allowing something besides gold and silver to be used as payment of debt. That's very, very important, okay? Because that's a direct violation of sections in that Constitution for the United States of America, the one everybody thinks is the law of the land. How they're doing that. We need to understand too about money, the power of it, what it really means. And the fact that they are allowing something else to be utilized as that. Now, if you stop and think about what money is, what you believe that money is, it's what you use to buy and sell things, buy your stuff, get paid, what you use to live by, have to have it. There's been all kinds of different things. Right now, it's primarily your use of Federal Reserve notes. Now, you need to understand what those are, understanding what that really is and how detrimental it is to you, me, now understanding what it is. The fact that they have taken your unlimited credit, your unlimited life force energy, and convert it to their own private use without you knowing that that's what they're doing. Now, if you read your Constitution for the United States, see, I'm gonna go look. Let me go. In Article 1, Section 8, which the enumerated powers clause is the only powers that were designated to Congress of the United States. Congress shall have power to, and then it lists out these 16 enumerated powers. And one of those is to borrow money on the credit of the United States. Now let's stop for just a second right there and try to recognize what is the United States. Well, in this document, very first sentence, we the people of the United States. Now, previous to that, they were operating as the United States of America, the Articles of Confederacy, 13 in colonies or commonwealths. They had done a number of other things. Actually, your Constitution right here is like, I think, the fourth or the fifth one that they actually operated under. They've been operating almost for 100 years prior to this. That's one of the history they don't teach you much. See? But it's we the people of the United States. So it doesn't really matter. We're just saying, hey, we're the people of the United States, wherever that is. We are creating this document now. We're creating a new organization to work on our behalf, Constitution of the United States of America. Okay? Now, Is there any really such thing as a state? Huh? Really such thing as the United States of America, or Germany, England, France, Peru, Ecuador, Mexico? Is there? Or are there just people living in geographical areas on the planet? And those areas have been named certain things, and they put those words on paper to create these organizations, these structures. There is no such thing as government. There's no such thing as a country, no such thing as a state. It's not a fiction. All there are people. If you start understanding people, you, conscious awareness, walking around a body here on this planet, and you operating on what would be called a life force energy of some kind. Even now, today, with modern science and all the technological advances that we have, we still do not understand how life happens. We believe that we do. We believe we understand the biochemical activities that are happening, the chemistry, but we don't still quite understand that spark of life, that life force energy that animates matter. Endless, unlimited, isn't it? Has to be. Now, your life force energy for you as an individual, conscious awareness, yeah, it's limited. You have productive capacity is limited. What you can do each and every day, the time periods that you have, limited by your physical capabilities, your mental capabilities, your health, all those different things, your age, okay? You know, we come here for a temporary time, but nothing is permanent here. So we're limited in that sense, but overall, collectively as a group of people on the planet, humans, humanity, huh, isn't that life force energy unlimited? Hmm? Unlimited in your imagination, aren't you? What you can think about. Unlimited in the creativity, the ability to change energy into some other form. Now, I've talked an awful lot about what your indispensable obligations are, what your naturally occurring rights are. And one of your indispensable obligations that you can't get out of, and that's what that indispensable obligation is, something that is forced upon you by nature, just naturally happens. Along with those, we have perfect rights to meet those obligations. But one of those is converting energy from one form to another. Just naturally happens. You don't even think about it. You, conscious awareness that's cognizant of what's happening, you don't participate in a lot of that intentionally, do you? Your respiration, circulation of your blood through your body, you eat, the digestive actions that happen and convert that matter into energy form for your use in your body, all those different things. Okay? Conversion of energy from one form to another. Indispensable obligation. Life force energy, unlimited. Now, since there's no such thing as government, no states, no cities, no nations, there aren't political subdivisions, associations of people, there are just people. Now, we gave Congress here in your Constitution, in that Article 1, Section 8, the power to borrow money on the credit of the United States. Now, money can be anything. That has it. It's just a medium of exchange, of value. My life force energy, I'm converting everything into value in some kind of a way, always. Therefore, credit and money are unlimited. So let's just stick with the credit part of it for you as people, group of us out here, you know, ongoing for generation after generation, life force energy, which is unlimited. Therefore, the credit, which is value produced by human activity, is unlimited. Now, the United States is just a group of people. So, to borrow money on the credit of the United States, okay, that's great. We're borrowing something of tangible value that we use in exchange for other things of tangible value. We exchange, some of this stuff to get this, and take that to get some of this, and so on and so forth. That's what's happening. Okay? The problem then becomes is that this small group, this small criminal group, have hijacked your governance back in the 1930s. Well, I did a lot before that. 1917 is really what started. 1914, 1913, that whole period right there. Jekyll Island. But they claim right now, they won't talk about it, but we know for a fact, there's been statements made on the record, other people have come to attest to it, that they claim that somehow the United States had to file bankruptcy because it couldn't pay its so-called creditors. Now, if the credit of the people, the life force energy of the people is unlimited, how is that possible? It's not. It's an impossibility. What has happened is this small group of criminals have created circumstances, have lied about things, have intentionally created situations to kind of create that appearance that somehow the unlimited credit, the unlimited life force energy, the unlimited indispensable obligation of all humanity, but this group of people known as the United States, and their ability to convert energy into value somehow couldn't pay their so-called debt to this group. And then, therefore, they've somehow forced the other elected officials, the other sovereigns are acting in the offices of sovereignty. They somehow claim that my state governance out here in the Republic of Utah, or my federal senators and representatives that were back there at that time, signed over the actual landmass, the real dirt in the geographical area, the longitude and latitude locations known as Utah, and all the people into it, and all of my future life force energy, my production of value, my credit to this group. Absolute poppycock bullshit. Impossible. And yet, that's what they want you to believe that they have done. Then they also take sections of this Constitution they believe that they operate under. Okay? They take words like to exercise exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever over such district, 10 miles square. They go down to Article 4. They claim that Congress has the ability to dispose of, make all needful rules and regulations respecting territory or other property belonging to the United States. And through creating new associations, new political associations, so the Republic of Utah, the organic state of Utah that existed, that was brought into that Union of States, now is a political association, as a territory of the federal government, and they can make whatever rules they think are necessary. They claim anything that's not specifically prohibited by the Constitution, we can do. Not what they're doing? Have to be. Because we shall take a look at, start talking about what happens. We're looking at what money. The fact that your state cannot make anything gold and silver, payment of debt. Can they? That's what it says. It says right there in your Constitution. Now, The problem I'm having is the fact that my elected officials continually lie to me about what's going on. Now, you can all understand the fact it's an absolute necessity to have laws. We absolutely have to have them. Not a problem. The problem becomes is what law are we operating under? What applies to me? What doesn't apply to me? What's my conduct allowed and not allowed? Okay, it is the Constitution for the United States of America, the organic one, 1787, and the Constitution for the United States, the amended one, 1789. Are those, in fact, still valid documents? It is the uh, geographical area titled Utah, where I live, where I claim to be standing on the dirt, one of the Union states, that's what I believe. Is that, in fact, still a viable entity? Or has it been completely displaced and replaced by a political association known as the state of Utah, which is operating as a federal territory? Now, well, think that we understand law. The fact that if you violate it, you go to court, you have the opportunity to defend yourself in criminal actions, or you can bring an action, or somebody violates something on you, you can have them arrested whenever they break in your house, or civilly. But those become forms of law. It becomes very important for us to understand then too what kind of law is really allowed by the those two original documents that created that so-called United States and United States of America. Articles of Confederation, and then also this Constitution for the United States of America, the Constitution of the United States. Create those organizations, groups of people that have authority delegated to them to operate. Because Article 3, which is your judicial branch, talks about what? Judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity, right, arising under this Constitution and law of the United States, and treaties made or shall be made under their authority. Okay. And admiralty and maritime, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. That's it. That's it. Now, if you understand admiralty and maritime, those have to those relate to commerce, contracts. Maritime's obviously things that happen out on the seas and the waters. Okay, law is what your common law. It's also designated in the amended portions of the Constitution. And let's see, Article 6. Article 7 actually is what it is, and suits at common law. Okay? The right of trial by jury shall be preserved. No fact tried by a jury shall otherwise be re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of the common law. So civil suits, common law, criminal actions, well, they claim that those come under the authority of admiralty, but well, that's open for debate also, because we start talking about the fact that admiralty, maritime, equity, common law don't operate on statutes. Admiralty based on contracts, predicated upon contract law. Contract law is predicated upon common law, has been for a long time. So when we go into our courts, we even ask, hey, what jurisdiction are you operating in? Where's your jurisdictional authority coming from? Oh, it comes from the state of Utah. Oh, it comes from the court. Right? But when we ask specifically, what what form of law do I have I violated? Because in order for me to defend myself properly, since you drugged me in here for not signaling, didn't signal for 3 seconds before I changed lanes. I need to know what law it is that you're applying to me so that I can defend myself. My right of self-preservation, my right to be brought in front of my accusers and all that stuff, okay? They won't tell you. And even the answers that we've gotten, we've put in a request for information to the Supreme Courts of states. We get this that we're operating in a non-constitutional, legislative, administrative, jurisdictional authority, whatever the fuck that means. What that means, you're operating as a federal territory. But guess what? You didn't have permission to do that. No, you claim that you did through Article 4, because what it says, okay, people, if you read what it says in Article 4, what they're operating on, no new states shall be formed or erected within the jurisdiction of any other state, or any state be formed by the junction of two or more states or parts of states without the consent of the legislatures of the states concerned, as well as of the Congress. Now, that's claiming they comes under Congress's territorial authority. That's the question we have to start asking of our legislative bodies in every state union to provide for us that paperwork that created the political association known as the state of Utah, California, Nevada, Arizona, whatever it is. Because I have an absolute right to know under what form of governance I'm living. My authority has been delegated to. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be an awful lot of individuals that are very, very upset when they start to recognize the fact that they have been converted into a federal territory. Because that's the only way that your elected officials can save themselves from being hung for treason for a violation of these other conditions of the contract, the compact known as the Constitution for the United States of America and the Constitution of the United States, was both created in that same document. One, the organic one, 1787, and the amended version of 1789, which was sort of, I guess they claim, was ratified, but it also created a new constitutional authority for the United States. Why do you think they had all those other amendments at the end? They're talking about what? How your legislative bodies are elected, how the president's elected. Didn't everybody stop and wonder why they had to do that twice? Huh? Do as amendments? Now, your legislative authority, that's the only way they can get out of that for making anything but gold and silver as payment of debt. The only possible way that they can get away with or have any reasonable cover for all the other stuff that they've done, all the statute, all the Roman civil law, the vice admiralty law, which has been brought to bear upon you and me out here as individual members of republics federated together in an area known as the United States of America. Now, in fact, they're doing under Article 4. I don't know. I don't think that's going to save them anyways, because I don't think that anybody gave them permission just because we elected you as a legislature. We gave you permission to start creating a new state on our behalf without our consent, without our input. I know I certainly didn't. I'm pretty sure my parents didn't know. Nobody else did either. And that's the number one reason why I say any legislative acts that were written by the state of Utah, the political association operating as a federal territory, I electing out of that. I'm opting out of that. I'm going to use my indispensable obligation, my right of necessity, my one of my rights remaining from the state of primitive communion to expatriate myself into any jurisdiction I deem proper and necessary for me. And that's codified. Your statute large 15, one of the very first ones that they did. In fact, they put that in place the day before they did the 14th Amendment. Everybody says 14th Amendment will create all these national citizenship and all that other stuff. That's bullshit. What created all these other things is your federal legislators, your state legislators, taking your authority you delegated to them to work on your behalf for your mutual safety and benefit, behind closed doors, behind unclear words, behind subterfuge, deception, lying, use of violence, to erect an entirely new state they claim has jurisdictional authority over you. Without your full knowledge and consent. Governments are supposed to be erected what? Justified on the consent of the governed. Your criminal statutes, your civil statutes that were written by the territorial political association, political subdivision known as the state of Utah have no validity for me as a living human being, conscious awareness. I've elected out of your civil Roman law jurisdiction. Now, that book, Law of Nations, talks all about that stuff, about conquest, what happens when a nation takes over another country, displacements of persons. Okay? I don't believe that you guys even have the authority to do any of that. You are absolute traitors. You have violated the very document for which you claim to get your authority. You know, that book, Law of Nations, gives us a lot of authority, gives us a lot of information, what we can do to you when you've done that, what constitutes a attack on the Constitution of the state. Okay? Because the constitutional laws of the state, this is out of Section 30, Book 1, are the basis of public tranquility, the firmest support of political authority, and a security for the liberty of the citizens. But this Constitution is a vain phantom, which it's turned out to be. And the best laws are useless if they be not religiously observed. Pretty sure no state may make anything but gold and silver coin as payment in debt. Pretty sure that you guys, behind closed doors, creating a new state. Yeah, that's great. You had the consent of the Congress and the consent of the state legislatures, but did that state legislator have consent of the citizens? Just because you guys got elected to office doesn't mean you have a mandate to do what the fuck you want. And that's what you guys do, don't you? The nation then ought to watch very attentively in order to render them equally respected by those who govern and by the people destined to obey. To attack the Constitution of the state and to violate its laws is a capital crime against society. And if those guilty of it are invested with authority, they add to this crime a perfidious abuse of the power with which they are entrusted. The nation ought constantly to repress them with the utmost vigor and vigilance, as the importance of the case requires. I'm pretty sure the importance of the case is pretty big right now. Okay? Now, It's evident that men form political society and submit to laws solely for their own advantage and safety. The sovereign authority is then established only for the common good of all the citizens. This is section 39. And it would be absurd to think that it can change its nature on passing into the hands of a senate or a monarch. The sovereign authority derives their authority from the nation. They possess just so much of it as they have thought been proper to entrust with them, the people. Okay? The sovereign power is limited and regulated by the fundamental laws of the state. Those laws show the prince, the sovereign, the extent and bounds of his power and the manner in which he is to exert it. Now, if we remember, section 1 talks about what? Sovereignty is what? The actual governmental, the form of your government. It's fundamental law. Sovereign to those members, those people that exercise that sovereignty through the sovereign authority delegated to them by the people that they are governing. Not your subject. Just you guys get up there, a bunch of you get together, write things in a way that the common person can't possibly hardly understand. Put your definition in one section, what that word means over there in another section. Back and forth all over the place, hiding instead of writing in plain, simple language. Now, I understand law needs to be very specific in certain instances, but not the way you guys are doing it. And you've done it intentionally to mislead people, intentionally to change my status. The jurisdictional authority, then, that I believe that I have, isn't there for me. You've colluded with a foreign nation, a foreign entity. You have attacked my Constitution. You attacked me personally. You don't think that's what's gone on, people? Huh? Never wonder why it is all these financial crimes, blatant right there, the big, huge news stories. What happens to those people? Absolutely nothing. Your son or your daughter being influenced by his or her own biological urges, demand that the body has for cannabinoids. And those can be produced by all kinds of different things, plants mostly. And cannabis happens to be one of the best producers of that plant that was on this planet. Grows on every fucking continent on this planet. Has a little bit of that plant in their pocket, a seed maybe, whatever. Okay? And your government that's supposed to be formed for my mutual safety and benefit absolutely destroys that young man's life, that young woman's life. Removes their liberties, damages their abilities to have a meaningful existence later on. They're laboring under some limitation, some legal liability that stays with them forever, their life here. Well, you people sit up there in those Capitol Hill buildings, allow your corporations to rape and pillage all kinds of malfeasance, destruction of the environment that I have to live in, fill my water with toxic chemicals, sodium fluorides, residues from your industrial manufacture of fertilizers, other things, your financial institutions intentionally create business cycles that aren't natural, do a huge wealth transfer through the mechanism of fractional reserve banking and compound interest. those crimes against humanity go unpunished. The use of a plant, families with these children with these horrible, debilitating, painful diseases, searching for some way to save their sons and daughters from the absolute torture of your modern Western medicines, your use of plant oils. You come kick in their doors, take away their liberties, put them in prison and jail, while you people continue to violate the Constitution, the very document that gives you your life, your existence. I take a benefit from the government, supposedly. All of a sudden, I'm subjected to all kinds of rules and regulations that are liabilities to me. You act as if I live for you. You people in government, right? Your very existence is for my mutual safety and benefit, period. Protection of me, my private, individual, naturally occurring rights. Now, as I said, I'm not a very good leader. I don't want to be a leader. Not a very good motivational speaker. Right? Simple truths, people. Don't have to wade through 9,000 pages of rules, regulations, laws, and statutes. You need to understand who and what you are. The fact that you are the supreme sovereign authority on this planet at all times. You delegate some of that to another group of people because there's no such thing as government. It does not exist. It's associations of people you've given permission to do some things to help you, not lie to you, not to steal from you, not to allow other people to do those things to you in direct violation of all the laws of our society. Your law enforcement, our county attorneys, why aren't they investigating these crimes? What, because it's a politician? Huh? There's a corporate guy, a lot of money? Huh? Absolutely not. There is no lawful law enforcement agency, not a lawful judge, not a lawful court on this in the entire United States of America right now. Because they've assumed their power through deceit, deception, violence. They have violated the very document that they claim to get their authority from. Therefore, they're illegitimate. Now, we need to start asking the right questions, people. We need to start putting into our local court systems, asking for declaratory judgments. What's that? That's the power of a court to decide on a particular issue, whether or not it's lawful, whether or not it's valid. We don't have to go out and violate. We don't have to go out and put ourselves at risk. Start asking these proper questions. The number one question we start asking is, where are you getting your authority from? Because from what I see, you guys are in direct violation of the very document that created you. And since you claim that you're going to be my sovereign, and I have an absolute right of expatriation to move to any sovereignty, every location, any jurisdictional area on this planet that I deem is best for me, you need to tell me. You have not only a constitutional order in this book called Law of Nations, but a fundamental, naturally occurring obligation, one just imposed upon you by nature itself, to act honorably and truly with me at all times, especially being considering you're sitting in a position of authority, you believe, makes you think you can lie to me about anything, not violate your obligations to me. And since I have, that's an indispensable obligation you have to be honest and truly, I have a perfect right, be ones that I can compel performance of you. I can force you to tell me the truth, or supposed to be able to. But unfortunately, my law enforcement people won't help me. My sheriff won't help me. My county prosecutor won't help me. County attorney, state attorney general. I've asked all of them. I've sent them letters. They get back, no, well, sorry, I work for the county. I work for the state. You'll have to talk to an attorney. I don't work for you. Really? Huh? So that's what we're going to start doing, people. That's one of the very first actions we start to take, demanding truth and honesty from our elected officials, putting in written demands to know, use their own statutes and laws to force them to do that. Grammar at state levels and FOIAs at the federal level of access to records, documents. Can't keep those from me. Oh, you claim you can on certain investigation, national security, all that fucking bullshit. Okay? So, you start understanding that. Understand also the issue about money, what it really is. What you have in your pocket right now, those are debt notes. I mean, if you care to read their acts, bank acts, first of all, you find that those aren't published in the Federal Register, therefore they don't apply out here to me in the States as a member of the Republic of Utah. Can't convert me into a public officer, an employee, custodian, working for the United States, any kind of way to bring federal jurisdiction upon me, anything that's not published in that register. More importantly, since in their infinite wisdom, they seem to have declared, hey, there's no money. We've suspended all those things. All you can do is discharge your debt. If you read that act and some of those things in there, you'll find out that you also can't demand payment in any specific form, any specific species of money, value. And since credit, the only thing that this country is operating on is my credit, and I get to determine what the value is of my life force energy. I can just sign my name and tell you that your bill to me, your tax bill, your property tax, all this other bullshit you guys send to me is paid in full off of my credit. Since there's no money, I'm deferring the payment of that debt until such a time as there is. Federal Reserve notes, it might say that payment legal for payment. Let's see, what does it say right here? Huh? Yeah, this is legal tender for payment of debt, public and private. But that's only for the people that are authorized to use it, which is an employee, officer, custodian, the United States. So I'm not. Therefore, I can't use that to pay you, can I? There's a foreign entity here, an invading, occupying force is what you are. Okay? You can force it out of me. But I read your own rules and regulations. Now, the problem with that becomes is I start using your rules and regulations, then what? I have to be one of your people. I'm not. But my right of necessity gives me absolute right to use this for my own personal survival. As long as I need to. My right of necessity, which makes things that would otherwise be unlawful, makes those lawful. When I have an absolute necessity, my absolute survival, meeting one of my indispensable obligations absolutely relies on that. in order to do that. So I can use those things. I can use your codes against you. I can use those for my benefit, meet my indispensable obligations. I get to decide what's necessary for me, not you. My right of individuals. Book 1, Section 128 talks about that very thing. And personal worship is far more than just some uh, uh, religious oriented spiritual type of experience. I'm pretty sure that my Creator, since He gave me this right of self preservation, everything I do is in worship to my Creator of any kind. It doesn't have to be some ceremony, praying, singing, engaging in certain things. Everything I do in my existence is worship for me to my Creator. I'm here. What my belief is, and my belief cannot be commanded by you, Mr. Government Man, or you, Mr. Sheriff, or you, Mr. SWAT guy, even though you got a gun to my head. My belief is that I'm here experiencing these things on behalf of my Creator who's unable to do so. I have these rights remaining from primitive communion when men were doing that before we got new political associations, before we created corrupt governments. I had the right to use of absolutely everything on this planet at all times, and I still do. As long as I'm doing that to meet one of my indispensable obligations, and I'm doing it in such a way that I'm not harming real harm, not this manufactured, made up bullshit you guys claim is harm, to other individual conscious awareness here doing the same thing. I don't need a law book to tell me what I can and cannot do. I don't need a law book to tell me what you, another individual, can and cannot do to me. I know what damage is to me. I also have a duty to be honorable and true all the time. Now, am I? No. Is everybody? No. Okay. But I have a duty to work towards that. And in matters of great importance, I can be held to that. I can be compelled to do that. So, I'm going to be posting up here next couple of days some documents that I've used in the past, but filings I've actually posted into my county recorder that establishes a lot of these things. And I did a few years ago. I've learned a lot of things since then. So a lot of it's not as necessary, I don't think, now with my newfound knowledge. But and we're putting together some of these legal documents that we can start issuing to our elected officials to start getting the truth about what's going on. What's really happening? How is it that you guys can so egregiously violate the very document you claim created you? Doing it through this so-called your ability, well, you do whatever the Constitution doesn't prohibit, which I don't know. I find it hard to imagine that that's even possible, that the federal government, the United States, was created by that document, can somehow operate outside of it for some of its territories and possessions. Huh? That flies in the face of just simple logic. There's no one thing you guys have done to make something that's beneficial for you okay. But if I try to do something like that, it's not okay because it's beneficial for me. You guys make it that way. Same thing you do with a lot of your words. Huh? This little phrase, shall be. In normal legal parlance, normal legal usage, shall be means something that will happen in the future predicated upon other events happening. It means may. And somehow, in this constitutional document where it says shall be vested, that rule doesn't apply. I've talked about with the attorneys and very informed people. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean the same thing there. Huh? Your judicial branch It's the only branch that doesn't have any authority or that level. Article 3. There's no Article 3 courts in this country. Your Supreme Court is operating right now was created through the Judicial Act of 1779. Okay? So Article 1 comes from also Article 1, Section 8, Clause 10, Book, Law of Nations, Section 165. That's where your Supreme Court is. The United States was created. Those Article 3 courts, there are. When you, as a sovereign authority, walk in there and delegate your authority to it, shall be vested in one Supreme Court. Now, I'm going to start teaching people some of these things about common law. And you'll find in the common law, the definition of sovereignty, what's been established over thousands of years of usage, or hundreds of years anyways, 500 or 600. Okay? What the sovereign is, it's the plaintiff and his suit. Okay? My sovereign authority is what creates a Supreme Court under Article 3, and I can turn any tribunal, any building, any space where I happen to be at into an Article 3 court for my purposes. So, I know that's pretty broad too, okay? But that's how it is, people. That's real. Okay? They don't want you to know this stuff. They don't want you to understand how powerful you are, how much authority you wield. They don't want you to know how much they've stolen from you. Their lies, their deception, their arts of words that they use to strip you of that, to get you to consent to something else, things that are detrimental to you. Delegate to them authority they don't have. Do things they didn't have permission to do, and then say, yeah, well, we did because you voted for us. No, time to grow up, people. Time to figure out, start reading, start understanding how things operate, how they should be operating. Okay? We have to be responsible. Sure we do. Okay? I'm not talking about anarchy, lack of government, or anything else. I'm talking about understanding and getting back in control and forcing our so-called governance, the people in government today, to tell us the truth of what they've done. They owe that to us. Their very existence comes from us, the consent of the governed. Okay? I'm not a subject of the state of Utah. I'm not subject to it in any kind of a way. The only purpose of the government, state of Utah, Republic of Utah, is to protect me and my private property, including my individual naturally occurring rights. That's it. That's the only authority they have. They want to write rules, regulations, statutes for employees, agents, officers. That's fine. I'm not one of those. And you're going to start treating me accordingly. You are the servant. I am the master. Now, I've hired you to do certain things for me, and I've given you certain permissions, but to lie to me, steal from me, which you do through your public accounting processes, your comprehensive financial reports, doesn't matter if it's Federal Reserve notes, credit, pieces of plastic, those have value. You don't have permission to take that value off the books and hide it from me. That's embezzlement. That's criminal. I don't care if you're a political association or a federal territory or not. That's still criminal. And we are going to eventually prosecute criminally what you people have done. So, I know I get a little passionate, get a little upset, get a little carried away, probably get myself so I'm not really understandable to people. Okay? Really, it's that simple, people. You read this book, Law of Nations. Strip away all the other bullshit you've been told to start thinking about who and what you are. You are a magnificent creation. All the things you're capable of doing. Do you think that there's another group of people that should be able to diminish your experience when what you're doing, engaging these things, is not harmful, not damaging, if you're doing it properly in the right settings? Huh? They don't have any right to deny you the use of a plant. God, okay? We can no longer be wards of the state. We cannot continue to be children any longer. We need to stand up, start doing things properly, protesting, writing letters, violating the property rights of other people like Anonymous does through their hacking. No, that is wrong. Okay? That's as much of a crime as what they're doing to us. There are procedures, there are processes in place that we need to be doing. We have an absolute duty to maintain public tranquility at all times. That's an indispensable obligation that you have, a duty you have to me. We can do it through the proper channels, proper processes, and we have an absolute perfect right to demand honesty and truth from this group of individuals that we've delegated some of our authority to. They're not above us, they're below us. We the people. Okay? That's outside those words of the Constitution, because the Constitution doesn't apply to you. It applies to that group you're creating to work on your behalf. And inside there, in Article 1, Section 8, Clause 10, there's a book of rules that applies both to the government and to you as one of the people. Explains everything. It is law. It's the only law you need. So, I'm going to end now. But once again, I'm pledging to you and your families, your societies, your nation states, your very existence. I'm pledging to your creator, whoever, whatever that might be, my life, what little bit I have left, my fortune, what little bit I have left, my sacred honor, which I don't know if I have any. But what I do, I'm pledging to you and your families to continue to do what I can to help people understand this information so you can actually be free. Okay. Love everybody, and I'll talk to you next time.